Sorry. Yeah, Face Foundry. Been like working like way too much. I can't think. Been like working like full job and then doing this like tile job on the side. Oh yeah. Clearfield. It's like yesterday. Are you doing that tile work on the side? Dude, my knee's killed. Like, yeah, it's rubbing my knees while we're eating. What's it look like? Did you get my email today?
Probably went to John Lord. He's in Montana. So we're filling in. And we actually, so Lauren's
I wonder if it makes sense to move those items to have the 4.2 first.
If you know me, which is
You can ask.
right now.
So, I really want to design and build.
Does that need a motion?
Yeah.
And not,
Yeah,
not have to worry
I'll make
about
a
like
motion to you.
making.
Let's do it right after the pledge. Okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. Amanda's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
She has one too.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to reorder the agenda. A motion for that.
I'll make a motion to move item 4.2 ahead of 4.1.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. So a motion by Heather, a second by Forrest. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so review and consider a recommendation to the city council to amend the Harriman City official.
Sorry, sir,
No.
we got
You're skipping.
meeting minutes.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, conflict of interest.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
I messed it up.
Jumping the gun. Okay. We have a full quorum, and are there any conflicts of interest?
No.
Okay. Approval of minutes for February 4th.
So I do have an edit that I'd like to make on the minutes. It's in the, on page 6, on the motion from Commissioner Jacobson. Towards the bottom, there's just a little typo. It says maximum floor area of 1. There's missing a 0. It should say 1,000. It's 1,00 square feet. So I think it's just missing. So it should be 1,000 square feet. So that was the only edit I saw there. So with that, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the minutes with that one change.
Second.
Okay, motion by Andy, a second by Heather. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, I will read the public comment, and then we'll do item 4.1. The purpose of the public comment policy is to allow citizens to address items on the agenda. Citizens requesting to address the commission will be asked to complete a written comment form and present it to the deputy city recorder. In general, the chair will allow an individual 3 minutes and a spokesperson 5 minutes. This policy applies to all public hearings. Okay. Review and consider a recommendation to the city council to amend the Harriman City official zoning map from OP office professional to C1 commercial.
Thank you. I don't have a, do you have a clicker? Okay, you can, I only have a few slides. You can just forward for me.
Not up there, I'm not sure.
Okay, so this is the vicinity of this proposed rezone. It's just one parcel within this area, and you can click to the next slide. Get a closer look at this. It's a parcel that is about 0.97 acres, so a little under 1 acre. Does have an existing structure on it. As you can see, there has been various outdoor storage activities on this property. It had been used and originally developed as a home. There has been some efforts over the years to convert it into commercial use. And then within the last several years, I know that there was an effort to revert it back to a home. But it really has been an underutilized property for a number of years. We've had some inquiries from time to time as to how to reuse the property. In looking at the OP zone, which it currently is, office professional, there's very limited land uses. And specifically, the request is to change that land use to C1, which, for example, in OP, general retail is not an allowed use, but it is a permitted use in C1. Service, like any type of service repair, is not allowed in the OP zone, but it is a conditional use in the C1. So it does bring a number of additional services and uses that the OP zone does not. And yet, if you can go to the next slide, our current general plan identifies this as neighborhood commercial, and the C1 zone is one of the zoning types that's consistent with that general plan as stated in your staff report. OP is as well, but so is the C1. And the next slide, you can see that we do have C2 zoning across the street. You're very familiar, I'm sure, with the Holiday Oil. But on the south side, that R2043 is actually, we know, yeah, that's where I think we've got a credit union, right? Yeah, on that. So, but those, so that's the change. And in researching whether or not there is some concern as a spot zone, where it's consistent with the general plan, legally it would not be interpreted as a spot zone. And even then, there are opportunities to still justify a spot zone if something were, were classified that way. But again, this is consistent with the general plan. So the next slide is essentially our recommendation. The proposal complies with the future land use map in the general plan, and it does facilitate commercial development, which of course is an interest to the city. It provides jobs, it increases our tax base. The staff supports the amendment as proposed or requested by the applicant. And as the commission knows, your role is to forward a recommendation of either approve or deny this proposal to the city council for a final decision following a public hearing. Any questions for staff at this point in time? We do have representatives from the applicant who is here tonight to answer any of your questions if you would like. If you would prefer, you could hear them before and after the public hearing. That's up to you. So.
Thank you.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. If the applicant has anything they want to add, if they want to come forward.
Hi, I'm Hans Hoffman with Hoffman Architects, representing John Nord, who is the applicant. John Nord's a physician, and he works in remote areas of the country doing physician work. So right now he's in Montana for 3 weeks doing that type of work. So we're here to represent him. And John is co-owners in Downrange Bike Works with Milo. And so Milo is a part owner in that. And really the main purpose of this is to create a bike shop. And we've looked at some various configurations on the site. And where we're currently thinking is that utilizing the existing home as a bike shop and expanding that in some form or fashion, doing something architecturally to the front of that so it doesn't look like a single family residence anymore. And then in the future, consider, possible future uses such as retail or restaurant, whatever that site can accommodate. And so, but that's down the line in the site plan application. And so right now, the main intent of this is really to create a bike shop. And as we go forward to the next step, should this be approved, we would love to hear a comment or feedback of, what the community would like to see at that location in addition to a bike shop. And I'll let Mike speak a little bit.
Can I ask a quick
Yeah.
question? When you say bike shop, is it a motorcycle shop or a bicycle shop?
That's what Milo can answer for you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Milo Bakiros. I am a veteran. I'm a Purple Heart recipient, fought in Iraq in 2004. Downrange Bike Works is a veteran-owned business and will always be a veteran-owned business. My partner, Dr. John Nord, is also a veteran. I'm an Army veteran, and he's an Air Force veteran. We believe in community, and we believe in bikes. And we know that the city's been doing a lot for bike stuff, a lot of trail work, and I think it's really amazing. So what Downrange Bike Works is, it's a bicycle sales and service shop. Bicycle sales and service, and we are very much community oriented. This year, we're a platinum sponsor for the Utah High School Cycling League, as well as sponsoring the Mountain Ridge High School cycling team and the Harriman cycling team. Over the last 2 years, we've donated a lot of time and quite frankly, some money to Harriman High School because we believe that bikes are important and we think that the youth benefit from them, and especially in an organized way, like in the cycling league. As you know, the National Interscholastic Cycling Association, also known as NICA, has a sanctioned trail in Butterfield, which this property is very close to. And so we think tying in everything that the city and the county has done with these trails and having this bike shop in this space goes hand in hand. And again, I just want to reiterate that we are very community oriented and we want to give back to the community. And this space is a great area for us to do so. And I'd love to answer any questions if you have any.
Okay, we might have you come back up after the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay, so we will go ahead and open the public hearing at this time. If you'd state your name when you come up.
Sorry, my hearing is horrible, so I'm having a hard time hearing in here. My name is Kelly Jones. We are the property owner, homeowner, directly to the south of this property. And over the years, we've been there for almost 17 years. We've seen a lot of things come and go out of there. And we're not opposed to the rezoning, but what we would like to see with this property is an extension of the nice brick dividing wall from the two properties to the west of this, continue on for any other business that wants to come in there. So we have a nice dividing wall between our property and whatever businesses are on the backside of this here. Right now, you know, we've had things put up like containers and shipping containers to kind of contain that. But really, whatever future zoning or whatever goes in there, I feel that business wall that's already there needs to continue down to the end of that property to separate those businesses from our residential area. We do have some other things going on in those others that can get quite loud and people running around. And it's nice to have that barrier wall. We would like that continued, and that's basically what my comment and my request is here this evening.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Katie Jones. I'm the other half. Just to expound on what my husband has just explained, over the years we have seen many of the tenants try to develop this into a use of some sort. It's been interesting to watch at times. We've had fires back there. We've had copious amounts of garbage, vehicles stored, trailers stored. It's just become kind of an eyesore. Right now, the containers that are back there block some of what we see, but there's some lean-tos and whatever that have, the fabric is ripping off. It's coming down there. It's become a place where animals just, you know, have burrowed into the storage units and everything else. And the fence that is there, we had talked to one of the previous owners about correcting the fencing issue in the back, and it actually strays onto our property line by about 1.5 feet towards the west. So I've got pictures of it. I've talked to zoning. I've talked to, you know, a few times to several different people, but we would love to see it developed. It's a great piece of land. There's a ton of traffic that goes by it. It's wasted space at the moment. Great bikes, awesome. you know, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Trevor Lindgren. I'm the dentist that owns the property to the west of what's being developed. I support the idea. My son was on the mountain bike team, so I think it's a great idea to have a bike shop. Harriman needs a bike shop. So I fully support the idea. I don't have any problems with it. Just as we consider the property development, sometimes there's a lot of traffic from Tiffany Dance Company, so we just have to make sure there's adequate parking. And there's a white fence there that has a little bit of obstruction. When people are trying to turn left out of our parking lot, that little white fence is sometimes just in the way to make it a little more dangerous to try to turn left as 134th South gets more busy. That's something to be aware of, just to keep good visibility and adequate parking. But I fully support the idea. I think it's a great idea to have a bike shop, and Harriman really needs one. So I don't have any other comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no more comments, motion to close.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Heather, and a second by Forrest. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, discussion.
I guess just with the zoning change, typically between residential and commercial, we have them put up a precast wall.
So, yes, there is still that incompatibility of land uses. That would be applied at the site plan review. So this is a change
That's
of
true.
use,
Yeah.
which does require a site plan review, and we would then require that wall.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that out, just so you're aware of that.
Yeah, so that's even if it's, right, an existing structure, but the zoning change, if the use changes,
Yeah.
they will still be required, even if they're using existing
Yeah,
areas, right?
the change of use is the trigger. And then another thing to be aware of is it says in the, I was just reviewing the code, it says that if you have commercial use adjacent to residential use, then even that, so in this case, we're gonna have a C1 zone with an OP zone,
Right,
right? But the
right.
use itself, if it's residential, then it still requires that barrier, that wall.
So another question about improvement on that, so the comment about blocking of the view and stuff. Right now, the sidewalk ends on their property, it does not continue. Is there a requirement for,
Yeah, obviously,
again,
we
as a
need to
part of
have
that? Because that would then also take care of the situation with the side distance and the fence blocking the view as
Have
well.
to
So that would
comply
all, right, be a compatible use, and so that would help take care
Where
of
it's
that
a
as well.
change of use, then we can bring everything up to current code.
Perfect.
Not to jump ahead, but with that transportation plan, there's some expansion planned for that road as well. It looks like the dental office already kind of has that space for that road expansion, but then this property would not. I guess it's more of a thought exercise as to whether or not there's a plan for that.
That's a part of the plat and everything too. The requirements for setbacks.
I figured.
And
You have the
dedications.
right of way, yeah.
For right of way. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, as part of the land use application, there would be likely a requirement to dedicate some right-of-way to accommodate the future widening. That is correct, yes.
And that's where that white fence currently is then.
Yeah, like you mentioned, if you look to the property to the west, it will line up with what that is. That is actually built out to what the widening project is planned to be.
Because that's been on the transportation master plan for a while, not just with this current update.
Yes.
It's been that way for a few years.
Exactly.
So-
You can see the
Exactly.
Holiday
Yeah.
across the street also built out to the full width. So, yeah, that would be the intent, is to continue that going east.
Okay.
It's nice having all the players here tonight to answer our questions. So, yeah.
So Michael, on the change in zoning, is outdoor storage allowed on either of those uses? Or either of those zones?
No.
Michael?
Yeah, I'm
Sorry.
looking at the land use code, I apologize.
You don't have it memorized?
No. Let's see. I don't see that. Outdoor storage.
Yeah.
Oh, probably not.
I think it's only allowed in C2. C2 and manufacturing? Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, certainly not as a primary use, right? And if there were anything
Like they can
outside, you would need to be screened and,
Right.
yeah. But as a land use, right, as a primary land use, no, we don't allow that.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anything else for the applicant? Do we have any questions?
I'm ready to make a motion.
Yeah,
Good, thank
I
you.
think this is great.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval to City Council for item 4.2. I'll second.
Okay, so
It's forwarding a positive motion.
With, do they have?
What it says at the bottom there.
one
On your
recommendation?
screen.
Sorry. Yeah. With staff's recommendation. With staff's recommendations, yes. I'll second.
okay. So motion by Forrest, second by Brody. Andy?
Yes.
Daryl?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Forrest?
Yes.
And Brody?
Yes.
Okay, and then we will go to review and consider a recommendation to the city council to adopt the 2026 Transportation Master Plan update.
Okay, good evening, Commission. We have discussed the Harriman Transportation Master Plan a couple times in work meetings, but this is the first time we've had it in the general meeting. So there may be some things that you've heard before that are good for public consumption as well. So there may be some repeat, but yeah, as some background for the necessity of a transportation master plan, right? We have an existing transportation master plan that was adopted in 2023, which really isn't that long ago, 3 years ago, but in Harriman time, a lot has changed since then. As we have discussed, some of that is because of a need to look at these public infrastructure districts and how they impact our transportation master plan. So, yeah, and then as we know, Harriman's growing. It's not going to stop growing. So one of the biggest and longest steps in the transportation master plan is actually analyzing and collecting all the data for socioeconomics. So population, employment, those are kind of the main drivers or generators of traffic, is where people live, where they work, right? And then also we have seen through state projections, county projections, that the household size in Utah is slowly declining. And as we go into the future, they are projecting even smaller household sizes than what we are at today. So we have adjusted that. We went through all of our master development agreements that are, entitled to a certain amount of units. So we know, and split the city into a bunch of little zones and how much employment's in that zone, how much population is in that zone. And so we, as part of this project, actually helped build a kind of a live model of population and employment that we're using, for all of our future master plans as well. So water, parks, other, even in the general plan, we can look at this, population projections in the future. But this is the building blocks for the transportation master plan. Once we know, or at least have our best guess at the projected growth, we look at 3 scenarios in Harriman. So that's today, and at the time we were doing the modeling, that was 2025, and you can kind of see the population there represented about 68,000 on the model. Then we look 10 years from then, 2035, and then we look 15 years from them. So 2050 is our kind of design horizon on this project. And then once we have all that data, we plug it into a traffic model that's based on where the commercial is, where the residential is, where's the most need for traffic and transportation and trips that are built. So then we model each year, 2025 existing, we would call that 2035 and 2050, and then see, our roads are overwhelmed on 134th today, or in 2035, we're going to need to widen there or build new projects there. So then we build a project list to make sure our roads aren't going over capacity. And there is some consideration to transit and active transportation. But as being the community we are very commuter-driven in Harriman. We don't have a ton of job centers at this point, so we do have a lot of vehicle trips coming in and out of the city every day. And then we put a project list all together, and that's kind of what we work off to know which projects to build, which ones are the highest priority, and we phase them based on their priority. I will mention for the public, I think you all have seen this, there is an online story map that, paints the picture of what's going on here. This graphic's actually from that. But that online story map is a little bit easier to digest than our 100-page document on the Transportation Master Plan. But that is what we are recommending for adoption tonight. So yeah, I'm just kind of jumping right into, based on all of our analysis and what we see as future projects that are coming up, you'll see there are color-coded for both. There's two types of projects we'll talk about. This one is intersection projects. So that could be a variety of different projects. That could be installing a traffic signal. It could be an existing traffic signal that needs additional turn lanes or even pedestrian or bike lane improvements at a signal or an intersection. It could just be as simple as the recommendation is we can adjust the signal timing, maybe coordinate signals that are close together to better have a more efficient corridor. We'll talk about, there's some partial signals or three-quarter intersections that limits most movement, but it still allows certain movements. So that's specifically on 134th. At the new development, the Commons, there's going to be a kind of a partial signal there. And then we have roundabouts. As you know, there's been a couple already built in Olympia. There will be more built in Olympia. We're able to work with the development there. There's usually a question, why aren't we, always building roundabouts? Why is our default traffic signals? Roundabouts are great for reducing conflict and risk of, crashes. They do take up a ton of space and a lot of right-of-way. So for a city that's looking to use our funds as wise as we can, it costs a lot more unless you have a development or another partner that's willing to give up a lot more land or room for roundabouts. They also don't work in every case, but for a lot of cases they do work well. So we are trying to implement those more. Like we said, the major growth area, Olympia, is kind of where you're seeing those implemented. A lot of the retrofit where we're like a four-way stop or a two-way stop, it's really impossible to fit a roundabout without, taking a home or something that's around there or a business. So where we have a lot of space and that we are able to get room, we do like to implement roundabouts, but for cost-wise, traffic signals do kind of help coordinate an intersection very well for a pretty cheap cost compared to some of the other improvements. So, yeah, and then we have some rebuild of intersections. One example is at the very end of, well, not the very end, but out on Harriman Main Street, if you go out west, there's the High Country area. They have kind of two entrances that Y into Main Street. Neither of them are great entrances, so we're talking about consolidating those into one that has better visibility as we widen Main Street going west. So that's kind of one of the examples of rebuild an intersection. And then, yeah, I think that covers most of that. Oh, and then the color code, sorry, Mitch. You'll see there, phase one, you can kind of see, even on this map, there, yeah, so back to this, the colors mean what phase they're in. So phase one, you'll see we have a lot of phase one projects because most of our growth that we can project is happening, in the next 10 years. That's what that phase one is, and so that's all the red. Phase two is the blue, that the next 9 years after that, so 2035 to 2044. And then phase three, we don't have a lot of projects yet because we just don't know what that looks like yet. But we do anticipate, as we get further west in Olympia, there will be some projects there in phase three. And then, yeah, so similar, these are roadway segments instead of the intersections we're looking at. So generally a widening or a new road. So the way that's designated is the dashed line is a new road and the solid line is an existing road that we're looking at the need to widen. So as discussed on the last item, 1-27, that project is 134th. It's currently 3 lanes. We're showing the need to go to 5 lanes at some point. So in phase 1, so in the next 10 years. Yeah, and then after we plan all of our projects, we look, and on the online map, you can look at each scenario, 2035 and this 2050. We're showing 2050 here. So those numbers are the road segments, and that's in thousands of vehicles per day. So you can see there we have some very busy roads entering and exiting Harriman. 126 South is projected to have significant amounts of traffic. That, just to kind of give you an idea, University Parkway at I-15 is seeing, that's a little bit more than the traffic you're seeing at University Parkway in Orem on 126, in between Bangerter and Mountain View, right? Those are kind of big connections. We are working with UDOT. As you can see, a lot of that jurisdiction where it turns red, that means we're over capacity and there is something that needs to be done. We don't show it, so let me take a step back. We do show a project of going to 7 lanes on 126. Similar, like 134th is currently, 7 lanes. They're striped gutter to gutter to make that fit. But even doing that, we're seeing, there's going to need to be some additional work there. That will take working with UDOT. There is, a plan for UDOT to take over 126 all the way from where this new U-111 is on the west end. It's kind of the corner of Olympia and Harriman, really, all the way out to Bangerter. So they're currently doing a study. Hopefully, we come up with some solutions. They're looking at, widening even beyond 7 lanes, which would be, very difficult, or even like a freeway-to-freeway connection from Bangerter to Mountain View, which would be, it would be kind of similar to Mount Timpanogos Highway. Timpanogos Highway, they have the commuter lanes that are separate from the main traffic. So from Mountain View to Bangerter, potentially you could have a commuter lane that doesn't have any, intersections or anything, and you're just tying straight from one to the other. That is expensive. You got to either elevate or do something to separate the traffic. But so that's one area that, our master plan doesn't quite solve the problem in 2050. And we're still working with UDOT on that because it kind of reaches outside of Harriman's boundaries. And then again, as we know, 134th is very busy. Orange shows we're kind of right at the edge. We're not failing yet. Orange is kind of our border of it's going to be busy, there's going to be delays, but it's not going to, completely fail. So there might be something we look at 134th and Mountain View as well. You can see it going orange there. So, and then as we've mentioned in the past, one thing that's surprising is the Real Vista connection down at the south end. You kind of see it orange there. When we show that connection, now this is a model projected, nothing's going to be exact on this, and we're talking in 2050, but we see a big demand for the south area of Harriman trying to get over to Bangerter or Redwood Road. And so that connection actually shows as a pretty crucial connection that would benefit our system quite a bit.
And this also shows connections into Bluffdale as well.
Yes, anyhow. Yeah, and that's the connection I'm referring, yeah, exactly.
A few connections.
Yes, so yeah, you can see there a little bit north of there, we're also showing an additional connection, which helps offload a little bit, but still that Real Vista area and that's for kind of reference where the Salt Lake Community College is, campus is, and Lee's Market, all of that kind of area. That's the road that goes adjacent to those is Real Vista. So I can answer any questions on any of the maps so far.
Could you go back to the previous slide? So according to this, Mountain View Corridor is a roadway widening project. It's not getting any wider.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
you're right.
infilling to the
You're
center,
right. The way we show that might be, confusing. You could consider it
can widen to
widening,
the
but it's
middle.
probably better considered a new road as, so for those that don't know, the project that UDOT's working on they are the existing roads that are there today are gonna be frontage roads. And the center area that is not built right now, they're planning on building as an expressway, similar to a freeway. And yeah, that is a new section of road, so that might be, something we could update. But you're right,
I'm just making sure that you're not
Yeah,
expecting it to get even wider than it is now. 'Cause,
yeah, that's a good point. I think their intent there was to say, hey, there's an existing road, and we're gonna add new capacity to that existing road, so therefore we're calling it widening.
They're widening
It
to the
makes
center.
sense. That was my only question.
They're widening by the way, as I was looking at this, it shows budgets and dollars for all the different projects as well, including the one for Mountain View, it's now at $1 billion, not the 500 million that's there, it's twice that. But anyhow, FYI, I mean, it's not city funds, but
Yeah,
but it's doubled in price from what's
That's a
now
good
showing
point.
up in the plan. But,
Yeah, that's a good point. Mountain View, we're showing it as a project on our project list because it definitely impacts, our transportation system. But at the end of the day, that will be a UDOT project. UDOT is running that. And as an update, they're, about at, 80% design. They're hoping to start building in 2027, so.
Are these new roads, the dashed lines, excuse me, developer dependent, or does the city have active corridor preservation going on, or?
Yeah, a lot of the new ones are in our new growth area where we have a master development agreement with that developer where they are required by our master development agreement to give us or dedicate the right-of-way so that we can have those roads built. And additional to that, they may be in a public infrastructure district, the PIDs that I referenced earlier, which actually puts the financial responsibility on the development to build those roads. So that's the case in Olympia and down south, kind of two of our biggest growth areas.
Do we have a timeline on when that connection to the corridor is going to be done? I know you've been asked that a million times, I'm
Are you
sure.
talking about the expressway in Mountain View?
No, I'm talking
or-
about the one down to the south-ish end.
Oh,
That what's that road called?
South Vista.
Is it Juniper Crest?
Juniper Crest.
oh, Juniper Crest.
When that
Yes,
connects
they
to
are-
Mountain View.
Yeah, no. Great question. So the extension from where Juniper Crest dead ends
Yes.
to come and connect into Mountain View. And then on the other side of that road, we call it of Mountain View, we call it Real Vista. Yeah, it's under construction right now. We are hoping that by the end of summer, it'll be available and finished. So it might be early fall. And then additionally, we're working on, there needs to be some widening in the middle of, in between the two Mountain Views and a traffic signal. So there will be a traffic signal installed at that location on Mountain View. We're working with UDOT, same time frame. So it'll be nice to be able to access in and out, but it does mean there will be another traffic signal on Mountain View that, you might get caught on the red light there.
Till the widening happens in the middle.
Yeah.
Yes, then you can bypass the traffic signals there, so.
Yeah, widening the center.
And as for what we're hearing from UDOT, the expressway is a 3-year project. Maybe, we're hearing more like 4 years in the end, but they will, that'll be very impactful because they've got to, go under most of our roads with the expressway, similar to Bangerter. So there will be some closures and some partial closures. We've worked with them on 134th and 126th. They cannot close those. Those are, essential to getting in and out of Harriman. But there will be lane closures, partial closures. That is inevitable with the project, so.
We just went through it on Bangerter. We're okay.
We survived.
We survived. It's job security. I love it.
That smell of pavement.
I do love the smell of asphalt, yeah.
Yeah, so again, those are kind of the traffic volume numbers, and then the colors indicate how much volume we're projecting versus the capacity of the road. So if we're going over capacity as we get, you know, like I said, red is we're over capacity, orange is we're right at capacity, so you'll see some delays during, you know, rush hour. And then green is you're not getting too close, so you'll probably be fine 90% of the time unless there's a crash or something.
Yeah, I think that's important to note, right? These are typically peak hours, right? Throughout the remainder of the day.
Yeah,
these are just your peaks.
I will point out, most of the roads, once you get into Harriman, are generally gonna stay green from today all the way out. But like we said, it's the complaint we hear, it's getting in and out of Harriman, the east-west travel to get to either Bangor or I-15 is difficult. So we'll continue to work with our partners at Riverton, but also UDOT to try and find some regional fixes for that east-west travel.
Well, I guess it's also important to note that as you're looking at this 2050 network and level of service, this is assuming like your entire Mountain View corridor is built out and it's a freeway all the way. So that's going to take some traffic off from these cross streets because you're not going to need to go all the way to Bangor. You can jump on Mountain View, go all the way north or south, but there's still a lot of demands for the other surface streets as well.
Yes, exactly. It's kind of a double-sided coin. We're able to get in and out, you know, north and south, but it also means, you know, those from Saratoga can come up and you know, get into Harriman easier, which means we might get a little bit more traffic off of Mountain View from there. So, yeah, that's a good point.
Good time to be retired.
A few more years. By 2050, it'll happen. Probably by 2035.
Then, Mitch, I think there's just one more slide. And yeah, that's just our recommendation is to support and recommend that the commission recommends adoption of the proposed Harriman City Transportation Master Plan to City Council.
Sorry, have you heard more from, like, I guess, now that we have a bus route, which is amazing in Harriman, more about tracks?
Yeah, we actually have been working, there's been a regional effort to look at transit in Harriman, you know, it's the southwest area of Salt Lake County. So you're right, we got our first, you know, legit bus line this last year, and that kind of goes down Main Street and 126th, and then connects in through Riverton to the front runner eventually at 126 and basically I-15. And then, yeah, so that's up and running. So we encourage, you know, UTA is the one that, you know, the authority that covers transit. And they want to see, you know, ridership before they're going to, you know, build more routes or build, you know, for example, we've been pushing as Harriman to extend the red line. It dead ends, as you know, at Daybreak Station just across our border. So if it was possible, it would be great to have that extended into Harriman. You know, we could get into downtown Salt Lake a lot easier for commuters. We have heard that light rail is, you know, kind of, I won't say, you know, a fossil, but it is more and more difficult to fund. Generally, those projects have been funded through the federal government, and they're looking at more the flexibility of a BRT, a bus rapid transit. So like down in Orem, Provo, they have the UVX system, which is a BRT. Ogden, I think, also has one for Weber that is up and running. It's this bus that has, you know, generally a certain amount of it has a dedicated bus lane, but it also has prioritization at a traffic signal. So it'll talk to the traffic signals and say, hey, a bus is coming, give the green to this direction so that they don't have to stop. So that has kind of been the more successful projects from getting federal funding and state funding. But because we have two really good anchor points at the red line, we have Daybreak, which is a pretty dense development, and then the point that the state is developing, kind of in the old prison site in Draper. It's natural to have some kind of transit connection, and it's natural to have it come through Harriman to get there. So we have been pushing red line, but that might end up, you know, being a phase approach. Maybe it's just a bus at first and then a BRT, a rapid bus, And then maybe if with enough stakeholders in state and federal, maybe that can turn into a tracks extension at some point. But yeah, we are working with it is a regional push, right? So Wasatch Front Regional Council is the one that kind of headed that study. And that's kind of where we're at this point is that's the priority. And it was nice to see South Jordan, Riverton, Bluffdale all agreed that, doing something at the end of Red Line and getting it extended, whether that be a bus, a rapid bus, or a light rail would be, the priority for everyone in the area. Any other questions?
I'm ready to make a motion.
We got to have a hearing first.
Oh, do we do? This is a hearing?
Yeah.
Oh.
Thanks, Bryce.
I didn't know.
Okay, go ahead and open the public hearing. And seeing no one, we'll go ahead and motion to close.
So moved.
Oh, go ahead. Second.
There you go.
Okay, motion by Andy, second by Heather, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then a motion.
I'm ready to make a motion to recommend to the city council approval of the Harriman Transportation Master Plan as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Preston, a second by Heather. Brody?
Yes.
Forrest?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Daryl?
Yes.
And Andy?
Yes.
Okay. All right, chair and commission comments?
No, I've been involved a little bit with the master plan. I'm excited for it. They've done a good job. Yeah,
Yeah, you've done a
appreciate
great
it.
job.
Nice
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Good job.
Okay, future meetings, city council, March 11th, and planning commission, March 18th. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by Forrest, second by Heather. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good job. Good job, people.